This video intended for educational purposes. Hey guys, it's Adam aka Swimmingbird, and welcome back for the Minecraft 1.8 Snapshot. This is 14W5A, and there's lots of cool stuff this week, including kicking mobs out of minecarts. We've got a new game mode, a new block, and a ton of other really cool little features. And I'll go into them this... What the... Hey. Oh, it's just our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. What's up, buddy? You might want to get your vision checked. You ran right into me. Weird. Alright, we'll figure out what's going on with Spidey in a sec, but first I want to talk about the new game mode. It is game mode 3, and it's called Spectator. And when you're in Spectator mode, you saw my arm disappeared. I can look at my inventory, but I cannot do anything with it. I can't move or interact with it at all. You see I'm this weird little ghost head, and if Spidey would be so kind as to go into game mode as well, here, game mode Spectator, you can actually see that, look, he is a ghost head as well. This is how all of the spectators appear. And you're completely invisible to anyone who is not in spectator mode. So you can move around freely through any entity or block, which is pretty cool. Look at this. Whoa, we're in the ground. And you can look at all the cave systems and cheat. But this is a, a game mode that you have to get changed into by someone who's OP on a server, or, you know, if you're OP. So you can't just do this randomly. You can't use items, place blocks, destroy blocks, or interact with blocks in any way, shape, or form. And you can look in chests and things, but you cannot interact. Again, when you look in here, I can like do this, but I can't grab any of the things in the chest. So it's mainly for observing PvP or adventure maps and stuff like that. Like a ghost. You won't be seen by any mobs either. They won't even look at you. How rude. And if you scroll the mouse wheel, you can see I'm moving pretty fast. If I keep scrolling it up, I can go even faster and zip around. If I scroll it down, I slow back down again. And you can go really slow with this. I'm barely moving now. But some of the really cool hidden features, you notice I have a bunch of mobs here. Well, if I go up to one of these and left click on them, I actually see through their perspective. So I'm in this little dog's body here. He's not looking around much. Let's push shift and we will exit out. I'll jump in the slime. He's bouncing around. Here we go. Now we can see bouncing through the slime perspective. Pretty cool. A couple of these mobs actually have very special vision. The creeper is one of them. Hello, creeper. Let's hop in. And look, creeper vision. Everything is green. So this is how the creeper sees. We've all theorized and wanted to know how the heck the creeper tracks us. Well, right now everything is green. I kind of hope they will change this a little bit and maybe make players like red or something very like abrupt, so that it looks like the creeper is kind of like the predator tracking us and stuff. That would be pretty cool. The spider also has a very special viewpoint. You noticed earlier. Look, we can see through all 8 eyes. If you count them, there's 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. The bottom 2 are in the center are kind of fused to make one giant eye, and it's really off-putting. It's very hard to see what the heck you're doing. I'm gonna go back into creative real quick, and then I'll put a couple spider eggs down, and we'll be able to see here these little guys in a bigger setting. You can also do it with the cave spider, so that's cool. And then we'll go into spectator. Bam! Now he's gonna look around a little bit. It's so crazy. But yeah, there's a couple new shaders in the game, including the creeper and spider shader that are specifically made for these. And the last one that has a unique viewpoint, I gotta place him in creative mode here. It is this guy, the Enderman. And if I can quickly switch before he teleports away and jump into him, there we go. So the Enderman, we can teleport around as him, and he sees everything inverted. And this is already one of the shaders that's in the game currently, but it's just a kind of a cool way to see how the Enderman, he moves around a lot more and teleports like crazy. So the only downfall of spectator mode, you can't interact with anything, also meaning you cannot control anything. So when you're in these mobs, you just have to kind of go where they go and look where they look, which is a little disappointing. I know what they're going for this, obviously, but I would like a different mode of this where I could control them, because that would be so cool for videos and to be able to actually move around as these guys, like a disguise craft type thing. Let's pop out of this guy before he gets too far away from where I am. Whoa, he went really far, but luckily we can speed fly back. So yeah, this isn't 100% finished, but it's pretty cool. One other thing too, when I'm in spectator mode, any invisible mobs here are actually translucent. So this spider was normally invisible, but he is now translucent in this box here. And I'll go into that in a sec, but this other guy here, this is a spider jockey. I noticed something funny here. If I jump in the spider portion, if I can click on him, ooh, we're in the jockey. Let's grab in the spider's butt. There we go. Oh, it keeps grabbing onto the jockey. I want the spider. We gotta slow down. There we go. you can see inside the jockey. This is what the spider sees when there's a skeleton on him. I guess we're like looking through his rib cage. It's really crazy. Anyways, I just thought that was a really funny little thing that they included. And I think that's just a mistake almost. Hopefully they make it a little easier to see through the spider jockey. But anyways, it's just very cool to be able to pop into a cow, pop out, all that sort of stuff is pretty awesome. And the only way you can die in this mode is if you go into the void underneath the world, or /kill kills you. So, pretty cool. And the only thing that's a little off-putting is that you just phase through the ground, you can't walk around. But obviously you want to be able to go through walls and just, you know, observe people as much as you want in a PvP match or something. So let's go back into creative. Still, I'm not completely used to spectator mode, and I'm going to talk about some other stuff here. Oh, I forgot to show real quick before we're done with spectator mode. There's some squid over here and a bat I wanted to show. I'm going to spawn the bat as well. And when we're in there, it's just funny to see through some of these guys' eyes. It's a little tough to grab onto the bat, but if the crosshairs hit him, then you know that you've got it. So come here, bat. Come here, come here. This could be, there we go, we're in the bat, and he's going everywhere, so it's really tough to stay focused. And the squid are funny, because when you're in them underwater, they're just kind of hanging out, spinning around, very peaceful. And, okay, let's get into it now. So, the new block that I mentioned, it's this, and here's what it looks like. A shadow. This is the barrier block, and if you want this, you can't find it in creative. You have to do /give, and then do barrier is the word. We're using words now instead of item IDs to get stuff. And once you have this, and it's only for, you know, people who are OP on servers, but it's actually an invisible block that you can place. It's very solid, and when it breaks, for some reason it has a lava and water particle effect. But you can place it to block off areas, and you can actually put things on top of it too. I have this whole minecart system set on top of these barriers, which is pretty cool there, floating in the sky. And you could do stuff like this. You can see the shadow right now, but I think they're going to fix that in the future. But I could be walking and be like, oh, there's dragon egg, all this treasure. Oh, nope, can't get through there. These are indestructible to anyone unless you're in creative mode. They're basically bedrock, and they're pretty cool. I think this will be really good for map makers and people just want to block off areas on servers, but maybe still have something visible, and you don't have to have a weird, you know, other block doing it, or do tricks with ladders and stuff like in the past. So another thing I have set over here with the minecarts, oh, one last little note about this. Redstone never had a bottom to its texture. They never needed one because you could never place it on anything where you could view it upside down. So now we can finally see the secret of redstone. No bottom texture. Very weird. Same with this repeater. There's nothing under there either. Weird. Anyways, moving on. So I have this minecart track set up for a reason. Now, minecarts, in the past, if you use Activator Rails, there's one over here, there it is, Activator Rail, it will actually be used to trigger things like TNT and stuff like that. It's not used all that often right now, but now it has a new function, and I'll show you this. I'm going to push this minecart. I have this set up, and hopefully this works here. It's supposed to go up here, it will tick that, put a chicken in it, tick it again to go, and then drop the chicken off. So the new function of the Activator Rail is that when you go over it, it will try to drop the mob inside of it off at the closest area. So you see that this block is right here, so it's trying to drop it on that block, and then I have some water which pushes these chickens down in the pit, and you can set up this crazy thing that just keeps taking chickens from one spot and going around. I thought it was kind of cool, and but yeah, it's a very simple little mechanic here. It seems to drop you off in one direction when you're on there, depending on which way you're going. Like here, it'll drop me to the side, and then if we go back the other way, it should drop me the same way. But it sometimes it's a little weird. I think they're still getting the kinks out with this thing. There we go. It dropped me the same way that time, and then dropped me on the other side. So it's a little weird. It depends on direction you're going, but it will drop you off on a block, and you have to have a block there. If there was no block here, it was a little weird because the chicken kept getting dropped on the track originally. But I think this will be really cool. This will help with transporting mobs. I'd love to see what type of weird mob delivery system and stuff people set up with this. It'll be pretty cool to see. So anyways, some of the other cool stuff. Now over here we've got some books, and you saw these when I was flying around in Spectator. I wrote this little book here, and in 1.7 we can copy books, but now there is a new feature of copying books, and it is actually a little limited now. So if you have your original book here, you would grab one of these, a book and quill, and if you plop it in here, you can copy your book. But you'll notice now, instead of saying original at the bottom, it says copy of original. And you can take that and then you can grab another of these little books, and if you do that one more time with the copy of the original, you will get copy of a copy. And now at this point, if you had one more book and quill, you could take your copy of a copy and you actually can't make any more copies. So you can copy these ones as many times as you want, but it will always indicate if it's a copy or a copy of a copy. And once you get that, you cannot distribute it. So if you have something that you want to pass out or copy, like a book, you can keep the original and make copies, but people couldn't distribute it to a certain point. It's almost like a weird little copyright thing on books written in Minecraft. It's kind of cool, but I think it's just a way, yeah, if people wanted to distribute books around and stuff, they wouldn't have to worry about it getting copied so many times, and they never knew who the owner was and stuff like that. So anyways, I think that's a cool little feature that Dinnerbun threw in there. One last thing here before we go into a little bit of news from Jeb about mob AI updates. In F3, you'll notice it's a lot easier to read the coordinates and stuff. There's actually a little gray background behind the coordinates and everything. So you notice, probably in the last snapshot, I always aim down towards the ground when I talk about it because that way you can actually read it. But now you can do it wherever you're looking. And you also notice the F3 has been simplified a lot. You have the block coordinates like are rounded. You've got light level, biome. It's all kind of like compact now a little bit, so it's not as confusing. You got the shaders on there. So I think that's a nice little update. A couple bug fixes real quick. A lot of villagers in the last snapshot, if they were spawned before that, they wouldn't farm, they would break stuff, but they wouldn't plant again. That has been fixed. I ran into the invisible barriers, not even seeing them. They're very, other than the shadow, you really can't see them. So I'm hoping they will, they'll maybe add a way when you're in a certain game mode, like creative or something, that you can actually like place them a little easier. Because right now it's like you have to kind of know where they are or look at the outline. A little confusing, but very cool. That's how I was keeping the spider jockey and invisible spider in there. A couple other bug fixes. They fixed items and item frames and a lot of stuff, like the items frames popping off walls and craziness and villagers not picking up crops. So Jeb mentioned a little something on Twitter. He said he's going to update all the mobs to the new mob AI system. This is the one that was introduced a while back for zombies with pathfinding and different stuff like that. And a few mobs, such as our slime buddy here, Bloop, he is not using the new one. But once they update this, probably in the next snapshot is what we're thinking here, the slime will actually be able to do things like swim, finally. We won't have slimes drowning in swamps and making that horrible splooshing sound. Right now, if I was to spawn a slime in here and then just like push him in the water, he just does this. He kind of gets stuck in the water and just makes that jumping sound. But I think there are a few other mobs too that aren't using the new mob AI system, so they will be updated as well. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully, that's a little hint that maybe they're going to add some new mobs pretty soon here. I don't know. They said maybe not any for 1.8, but who knows? They always change their mind about stuff. So that is pretty much it for the snapshot. Spectator mode, flying around as a ghost, is pretty cool. As you can see, Spider-Man's disappeared because I'm not in spectator mode anymore, but he is still there, watching over us, ever vigilant. Thank you guys for watching. Hope it didn't scare you too much at the beginning. I'm the disembodied head of Swimming Bird. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time for more Minecraft Snapshots. Goodbye.